Okay, so I just made up this acronym LIPLA, but it's very, very important for anyone who wants to get better at guitar, who's in the beginner and intermediate levels of their career. And so stick with me here, and I really want to show you how important it is to really start thinking about being a musician when it comes to playing guitar and how to just get better. So what I'm trying to say is, welcome back to another episode of Stitch Method, and here we go. All right, so there are 4 words that you really must remember in order for you to get better at guitar. And those words are listen, internalize, perform, and adjust. And before we go any further, we're going to let that ponder in your head. I want to let you know that I have plenty of students who, they've been studying off of YouTube, studying Stitch Method. They even have teachers as well. And what happens is we're so concerned with learning how this thing works, and I get it because I've been there. The theory, the shapes of everything. We kind of get this tunnel vision on the performance piece of the guitar. The guitar is a musical instrument, and you are playing music, and that's I know it's like, duh, Ian, but the truth is that if we're not listening to what we're performing, then we're never going to be able to connect with this instrument the way that you want to. And so what I'm trying to say is there is a cycle or a circuit of connected thoughts that you need to get on right away when you're playing. And the order of these 4 words, when you put them in the right order, spell out this LIPLA, which is listen, internalize, perform, listen, and adjust. And we need to talk about that cycle. That is a cycle of thought that should be happening within your playing every second that you are on this instrument. I use this analogy, and it's a stupid analogy, I get it, but it really kind of hits home, which is when you're at your house and you turn on a light switch, we take it for granted that there's a little piece of metal that touches each other and connects the circuit and light goes on. But that's not what we take for granted. What we take for granted is that the circuit isn't necessarily complete from when you close the piece of metal. It actually connects the light bulb to the power plant, which is, it could be hundreds of miles away. But when you click that light on, it connects a circuit that is much, much, much longer than you think it is. And it takes, the speed of electricity to turn on. And it's really fast. So just let that sink in, because what I'm trying to say is the circuit of thought that you need to have, and this loop of constant listening and adjusting, needs to be on all the time. And it's not as big or as frightening of a loop as you think it is. So let's get down to the first word, listening. This part is about when you want to learn a riff. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. If you want to learn a riff that already exists, or if you want to learn a riff that kind of you came up with or you hummed with. Listening to something intently and trying to get its little nuances, as if the teacher says to you in class, I'm about to give you the answers for the test in the next 10 minutes of my speech. Listen very intently. You want to listen like that, as if you know the answers are there. And then you want to do the second word, which is internalize. Internalizing is getting the idea of the riff that you want to learn from either yourself or from someone else into your system so well that you can hum it, you could feel it, you can almost imagine how it moves on this instrument, and you want to get it internalized so much so that you could almost explain it to a friend like, hey man, do you know that Zeppelin riff that goes like this? And be able to hum it. You want to know it really, really well. And so the first step is listening. Second is internalizing. The internalizing step is the most important. It's what lets you bind with the music, and it attaches to your soul and your heart. Then you want to perform it. Whether or not you're going to perform it with the track you're learning or by yourself, you want to play the riff on the guitar. And we'll talk about that. I have a test for you coming up in a couple seconds. And then as you're playing, you want to listen. And as you're playing this riff, you listen. It's not about playing by numbers. It's about listening to the notes coming out of this instrument and how well your performance matches the internalization. And at that point, if you need to make any adjustments, adjust. You start adjusting your fingers, the timing, the feel, everything until it matches perfectly. So this acronym of LIPLA, again, is listen, internalize, perform, listen to the performance, and adjust, okay? And you need to be doing this all the time. If you take a riff, like, I don't know, I mentioned Zeppelin, so let's do, my God, how many more times? That's it. How many more times? You know, that riff, I think a lot of people listening should know or would know. And you know, it starts off boom, 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 and that's a good riff to follow. And you know, when you hear that song for the first time, it's repetitive. Boom, 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 boom. You internalize it. Boom, 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 and you go to play with it. And sometimes when people go do it, we get these performances that aren't in line with the internalization or with the original concept, and you get like these like they're playing the right frets, they're playing the right notes, but it's just not sounding like it. And it's related back to my lesson about phrasing with breath and heart, which I'll link below. Carrying out the notes for the exact amount of time, making sure they match exactly carbon copy what either came out of the speakers or what was in your head is so important. So if I was trying to learn, you know, how many more times, and I'm getting this, like, right there is the problem. I know so many students who just say, okay, well, that's it, I'm playing it, and it's like, well, you're playing like the original, like, you're playing like the rough version of it, and you want to get it as smooth and as perfect as possible. And so that's why the internalization process, you know, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, and matching all of that, boom, ba, ba, boom, holding the notes, boom, bum, bum, boom, bum, and listening and making sure it happens. So again, this is more of a beginner intermediate lesson, but I want you to all know that this is a real process. When I'm playing, when I'm soloing, when guitar players are playing riffs or soloing, they are really truly listening to what's coming out of their guitar. They're not just, it's not a one-way drive of playing by numbers and then saying, well, that should be it, because there's so much technique and art that goes to it. So what I need you to do is you're going to perform this little test with me. Now, if you're watching this on a mobile device, you're probably going to want to switch over to a computer and find this timestamp, because we're going to do a test where I'm going to play some simple things, and you're going to take your phone or tablet or whatever, and you're going to turn on the voice recorder, and you're going to try and play with me. And the whole idea is you want to listen, you know, you want to internalize, and once you've internalized it, you want to try playing it. And if you can hear either my guitar or your guitar separately, then something is wrong. You want to hear it where one guitar is hidden or it sounds perfectly in unison. So let's do this little LIPLA test. Should I trademark that? LIPLA, whatever. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to use an A minor pentatonic, okay? 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7. And for anybody who's playing a different instrument besides guitar, we have A, C, D, E, G, and A. A, C, D, E, G, and E. A, excuse me. And so now, if I come up with a little riff, very simple like this, like... Alright, so I'm going to play it a couple more times, and I want you to pretend that your professor is giving you a test on the attack, the length, the breadth of everything. Listen to it again. Now, I'm going to play it for a third time, and I want you to press record on your phone. I want you to have the volumes kind of the same, however you can do that, and I want you to play along. 1, 2, ready, go. Now listen to it. Pause this video and listen. And if you can sound, if it sounds like a perfect match, note for note, length of note, attack, everything, then you're doing a good job. But if you hear your guitar is more staccato, like, you have to adjust your playing. And so if you're too staccato, you gotta make sure you're holding on to those notes. Keep that first finger down. It's more legato. Sorry. And I have a palm mute going, by the way. And so you want to listen for these things. So let's do it again. I'm going to stick with the A minor pentatonic. Let me come up with a riff. Now listen to that as if it's your favorite riff you've ever heard in your life. Shouldn't be. It's very, and pretend your professor told you that riff is what the test is on. And you want to hear it again. Here it is. Sorry. And now, get your recorders out, play it with me. Note for note, match for match. And when you listen to it, if it doesn't sound perfect, if you hear either my guitar or your guitar separately, then we're doing it wrong. If you hear either one guitar being played where it's like so close, that's what we're looking for. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and... So the problem spots of what's happening, I mean, every single one of these steps can be a problem spot. The listening, you have to really close your eyes and listen. It's usually the internalization that we kind of like skip over. We go, yeah, I get it, you know. But you don't want to go, yeah, I get it. You want to be able to hum it, like I said. You want to be able to explain to your friends if you're in a band. It goes boom, boom, bop, bum, 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 boom, boom, bum, 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 bum. You want to hear that. In the performance, if the listening and the internalization is fine and the performance is off, then it's your actual technical approach, and that's something that you want to like dive deep into. Get your technical approach down. Stay longer if you need to stay longer. Make sure your first finger is staying put in these riffs. Like guitar players usually keep their first fingers down and move around. They only move their first finger when they need to, and that creates a nice legato. You know, and so. And then listen again to your performance and adjust accordingly. We'll do one more test, and I hope this is helping any beginner or intermediate player. Just remember these words in order. Listen, internalize, perform, listen, and adjust. Non-stop. And what I'll do, we'll do one more test and I'll show you something. I'm just making this up as we go, but it's worth it. Here we go. So here's another riff. Let's see. No, hold on. There we go. Let's show that right hand, huh? Alright, so rewind that and listen to that and see if you can get that internalized. Ba-dum bum bum, ba-dum bum bum bum, ba-dum bum bum, ba-dum bum bum bum. All pentatonic stuff. Nothing crazy. And now I'm going to play it 4 times in a row. You play with me, get your recorder out, and listen to it. Listen to your performance when we're done. 1, 2, ready, go, get. Alright, so these are all exercises to make you kind of like really listen to what's going on. And when I'm soloing, you know, when I'm either playing, rhythm guitar or I'm soloing, I'm constantly in real time evaluating every note, every breath with these 5 words every second. I'm not conscious. I'm not like listen, you know, interpret. It's just you want to be able to. And make sure that the notes you're doing are true, your technique is good, and that your intent matches your performance. And when you start to get closer to this, you start to become a better guitar player. So here's my words of advice for you. Listen to your favorite riffs, go slow, really be able to hum them and know them completely before you perform them. And then when you perform them, don't say to yourself, well, I played the right frets, I played the right numbers. You know, you want to listen. Did it sound good? And this little acronym should help you develop that. So I know this is a little different type of lesson for my fellow Stitch Method fans, but I wanted to share this with everyone because it's frustrating when you play guitar but you're not getting the sounds you want. And like I said earlier, you are playing a musical instrument and you want it to sound like music, and this is a step in the right direction. So listen, internalize, perform, listen, and adjust again, and keep on doing it, and push yourself to get better and better every time you play something. So have a great week. We'll do any questions. Like I said, this video comes out on Tuesday. Any questions you want to ask about this, put in the comments. And on 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, I'll go live and I'll address any questions we have about this and demonstrate a little bit further. But I hope you enjoyed this. A little bit off the beaten path, nonetheless, a very important lesson. I'm going to leave you with a picture of a student, one of my private students, who is working on this right now. There he is. Have a good day. Bye.